Hey, what's up and how's it going, everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the MRB Wrestling Review Show. I am your co-host Mike McRock Wilson, and last night was NXT from the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. The show kicked off with a tag team turmoil match. It was Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy taking on the team of Tyler Breeze and CJ Parker, which I absolutely loved, versus Alexander Rusev and Scott Dawson versus the Ascension. And what I really like about this match was the team of Tyler Breeze and CJ Parker, because these two guys hate each other, and what better way just to have them pair up and go in this match really shows, this interesting chemistry between these two guys, I thought, where Tyler Breeze was doing all the heavy lifting and CJ Parker wasn't even in the ring in that match. And I like that tease because we see Tyler Breeze in these matches where he pulls out victories, and they're only short matches. And from what happened when he was out last time, where he just goes in the ring, punches a guy, and then goes back out. Those little things I like, and I like how they use Tyler Breeze once again. It's the 5th win in a row ever since Tyler Breeze came on NXT. I like that he was not wrestling in that match because it was really considered, that tease factor. And those little things like that really went over the fans on NXT. And what's interesting about the fans on NXT was that, sometimes they, cheer for the things that heels, get that heel pop from, and they, react with cheers. So not only, we see this happening, we know that the audience is also smart on that show. It's not like Raw and SmackDown where they cheer for stuff that the heels and bad guys boo, and that they cheer for the baby faces of what they say. So I like that little, hardcore factor within the, with the NXT crowd. It feels like they are hardcore fans. And with that being said, the winner of this match was the Ascension. What I also like about this match was that Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy really stepped up on the show, and they actually competed against all of these 3 teams. And for that reason, I think Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy is another one of those cases where they're just a little step behind. I think they're going to be the ones next in line after the Ascension gets their shot at the NXT Championships, because they look great, and the Ascension was a team that just picked up the scraps after Alexander Rusev took out Enzo Amore. And I like that underdog feel we have now with Enzo Amore. He's not the biggest guy. He's kind of like the Daniel Bryan of NXT, so to speak, where you almost kind of, feel sorry for the guy that just got beat up and he's not going to come back from it. He somehow managed to come back. He fought his way, but, it was inevitable for the Ascension to win because they are the team going after the champions weeks before this match ever happened, so it makes sense that the Ascension won this gauntlet match. Also on NXT, we saw Bayley go one-on-one with Sasha Banks with Summer Rae in her corner. And what's interesting about this was that we've got to see Renee Young on commentary. I thought she was actually pretty good, talking about Sasha Banks and Bayley and the divas in the locker room. And, talk about how she, interviews them, and then based off what they're doing in the ring. And so, and I also like that, that Renee Young is taking on, other duties in in her career right now in the WWE. She's been doing interviews backstage, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. She co-hosts Vintage Collection with me and Gene Oakland, and now she's on commentary for NXT, and I thought she was actually pretty good. And Bayley throughout that match, she is one of those divas where you just don't judge a book by looking at the cover, pun intended. And with that being said, I thought that Bayley is a real standout in the Divas locker room on NXT. I think it will be sooner rather than later she gets a title shot. And at the same time, she's the one jobbing for other divas, so it's really kind of hard to tell where Bayley's going to go in her career on NXT, based off of those reasons. But what I do like is that she is just great on in the ring, and the commentary on that show is very on point in how they make Bayley look great, not only in her wrestling but with the commentators as well. And with Sasha Banks, I think this little duo between her and Summer Rae is not going to last. It's going to happen sooner or later where Sasha Banks turns on Summer Rae, or the other way around, depending on which way they might go in the storyline between these two. But right now, it's looking like that Sasha Banks will be the one that gets a title shot against Paige. And after that match, we saw, Emma come out and try to intervene. So this rivalry with Emma and Summer Rae is clearly not over, because next week we're going to see Fandango on NXT. How appropriate, because Summer Rae is Fandango's manager, and Summer Rae laid out the challenge to Emma, where she's going to challenge Emma to a mixed tag team match. Pick a partner, any partner. Who's it going to be? Who knows yet? I'd like to see Santino actually be the guy to team up with Emma next week. If not, then let's see how it all goes down next week. Also, we saw Aidan English go one-on-one with the Bull Dempsey. I do believe that's his name. And this guy is just absolutely incredible. He kind of reminds me of a Broadway version of a mix between Freddie Mercury and Damien Sandow. For some weird reason, he has that rich quality factor about him. The way he presents himself when he comes out, his singing absolutely goes over with the NXT crowd, and I just absolutely love the singing he does when he comes out and his encore. The fans are on board with it. I'm on board with it, and hopefully the higher ups are, because I see a good potential thing that could happen with this guy. You know how you see a superstar on NXT and think, this guy could actually team up with a guy who reminds me of him, or have a feud with, like Tyler Breeze and Fandango. I could say the same thing with Aidan English and Damien Sandow. I think the pairing of those two guys would be absolutely tremendous, and it's just one of those things that may happen sometime in the future. Who knows yet, but we'll wait and see. But right now, Aidan English, a win over his match on NXT, just look great, and this guy can't do no wrong yet, because of the fact that he is going over with the crowd on NXT. We also see Sami Zayn in action, facing off with El Local, and we saw a different side of Sami Zayn throughout that match. He looked more aggressive. His intensity was actually quite impressive. And, we see Sami Zayn throughout on NXT, competing in matches with Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger, and he just looks great throughout that match. And this match he had with at locale. He looked more aggressive. His intensity was brought up. Even the commentators brought that up as well. And I see a good future for this guy as well. Absolutely, without a doubt. And after the match, we see Bo Dallas come out and issue a challenge. Bo Dallas Invitational next week without Sami Zayn. And the whole thing as soon as he came out and started talking, the fans just booed him out of the building. This guy, Bo Dallas, sucks in his talking, in his promos. It's just absolutely horrid. I would rather hear beep beep. I would rather hear nails on a chalkboard. Literally, I would rather hear nails on a chalkboard than to listen to Bo Dallas. And the main event was actually Triple H. He announced that JBL will be the new general manager. Well, he actually said interim general manager. It's all the same thing, really. And the new guy is JBL. I think it's good. It's time for a change because, it's also good timing as well. Because Triple H, I like how he tied in the storyline between the McMahon family and the Rhodes family. So it works well and it makes sense in that sense. And to have, someone different in a managerial role is cool, new, exciting, it's fresh. I think that JBL is going to do great. And the funny thing is that, it's fresh out of coming off of a babyface, a legend of a general manager, now to a heel general manager. And in the same time, the way the fans reacted to JBL was absolutely very cool in some ways, because when JBL made that that remark of saying that this is not a sing along with JBL, and the fans just actually gave him a good pop, as in cheers, and it's kind of like their way of saying, yeah, this is the JBL we want to see on NXT. And I think that the fans, no matter how they react, are on board with JBL being the new general manager of NXT. And that was my review of that very show. For the MRB Wrestling Review Show, I'm Mike McRock Wilson. To all your viewers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.